Hey everyone, it's Mrs. Merrill, and I am here to read you the story of Lazy Peter and his three-cornered hat. Okay, so if you have the document pulled up, this is what it will look like. And I'm just going ahead and start reading for you. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Okay, and we will get started. So this is Lazy Peter and his three-cornered hat. This is the story of Lazy Peter, a shameless rascal of a fellow who went from village to village making mischief. This word right here, mischief, means trouble, so Lazy Peter sounds like he likes to get in trouble. One day, Lazy Peter learned that a fair was being held in a certain village. He knew that a large crowd of country people would be there selling horses, cows, and other farm animals, and that a large amount of money would change hands. Peter, as usual, needed money, but it was not his custom to work for it, so he sent out for the village wearing a three-cornered hat. Okay, so Peter needed money, but he does not always work for it. So that tells us that he probably might sucker others into giving him money, or he might even steal it. Remember, Peter is someone who likes to make mischief. The first thing he did was to stop at a stand and leave a big bag of money with the owner, asking him to keep it safely until he returned for it. Peter told the man that when he returned for the bag of money, one corner of his hat would be turned down, and that was how the owner of the stand would know him. The man promised to do this, and Peter thanked him. Then he went to the drugstore in the village and gave the druggist another bag of money, asking him to keep it until he returned with one corner of his hat turned up. The druggist agreed, and Peter left. He went to church and asked the priest to keep another bag of money and to return it to him only when he came back with one corner of his hat twisted to the side. The priest said fine, and he would do this. It sounds like Peter might be making some sort of trouble amongst all of those people. So let's just revisit. He went to three different people. Okay, he stopped at a stand and he left money with the owner. Then he went to the drugstore and left money with the druggist. And then he went to church and left money with a priest. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, having disposed of the three bags of money, Peter went to the edge of the village where the farmers were buying and selling horses and cattle. He stood and watched for a while until he decided that one of the farmers must be very rich indeed, for he had sold all of his horses and cows. Moreover, or in addition to, the man seemed to be a miser who was never satisfied but always wanted more and more money. We know what the word miser means because we read A Christmas Carol with Scrooge, and Scrooge was a miser, and he always wanted more and more money, and we know that that did not work out well for him. This was Peter's man. He stopped beside him. It was raining, and instead of keeping his hat on to protect his head, he took it off and wrapped it carefully in his cape, as though it were very valuable. His hat might be valuable because remember, Peter told the priest, the druggist, and the man at the stand that he would have parts of his hat turned up, turned down, or twisted. Okay? So it puzzled the farmer to see Peter stand there with the rain falling on his head and his hat wrapped in his cape. After a while, he asked, "Why do you take better care of your hat than of your head?" Peter saw that the farmer had swallowed the bait, meaning swallowed the bait. He fell for Peter's plan. And smiling to himself, he said that the hat was the most valuable thing in all the world, and that was why he took care to protect it from the rain. The farmer's curiosity increased at his reply, and he asked Peter what was so valuable about a red three-cornered hat. Peter told him that the hat worked for him. Thanks to it, he never had to work for a living because whenever he put the hat on, with one of the corners turned over, people just handed him any money he asked for. Okay, so Peter is telling this man about his plan. Remember, he went to the first stand and he left a big bag of money with the owner. He said, don't return it to anyone until he returns with one of the corners turned down. Then Peter went to the drugstore and he told the druggist to hold on a bag of money and keep it with him until he returned with the corner of his hat turned up. And then Peter also gave money to a priest and told the priest not to give the money to anyone unless he had part of his hat twisted to the side. Okay, so Peter obviously has a plan here to make even more money. Okay. The farmer was amazed and very interested in what Peter said. As money getting was his great ambition, or that was his purpose in life, he told Peter that he couldn't believe a word of it until he saw the hat work with his own eyes. Peter assured him that he could do this, for he, Peter, was hungry, and the hat was about to start working, since he had no money with which to buy food. With this, Peter took out his three-cornered hat, turned one corner down, put it on his head, and told the farmer to come along and watch the hat work. Peter took the farmer to the stand. The minute the owner looked up, he handed over the bag of money Peter had left with him. The farmer stood with his mouth open in astonishment. He didn't know what to make of it, but one thing he was sure of is that he had to have the hat. Peter smiled and asked if he was satisfied, and the farmer said yes, he was. Then he asked Peter if he would sell the hat. This is just what lazy Peter wanted, but he said no. He was not interested in selling the hat because with it he never had to work and always had money. The farmer said he thought that was unsound or not reasoning, because thieves could easily steal a hat, and wouldn't it be safer to invest in a farm with cattle? So they talked, and Peter pretended to be impressed with the farmer's arguments. Finally, he said yes, that he saw the point, and if the farmer would make him a good offer, he would sell the hat. The farmer, who had made up his mind to have the hat at any price, offered 1,000 pesos. Peter laughed aloud and said he could make as much as that by just putting on his hat 2 or 3 more times. As they continued haggling over the price, and haggling just means to argue. Notice that we have our underlined words down here. So as they continued to argue over the price, the farmer grew more and more determined to have the hat, until finally he offered all he had realized from the sale of his horses and cows, 10,000 pesos in gold. Peter still pretended not to be interested, but he chuckled to himself, thinking of the trick he was about to play on the farmer. All right, he said, it was a deal. Then the farmer grew cautious and told Peter that before he handed over the 10,000 pesos, he would like to see the hat work again. Peter said that was fair enough. He put on the hat with one of the corners turned up and went with the farmer to the drugstore. The moment the druggist saw the turned up corner, he handed over the money Peter had left with him. At this, the farmer was convinced and very eager and willing to set the hat to work himself. He took out a bag containing 10,000 pesos in gold and was about to hand it to Peter when he had a change of heart and thought better of it. He asked Peter please to excuse him, but he had to see the hat work just one more time before he could part with his gold. Peter said that was fair enough, but now he would have to ask the farmer to give him the fine horse he was riding as well as the 10,000 pesos in gold. The farmer's interest in the hat revived, and he said it was a bargain, meaning this is a good deal. Lazy Peter put on his hat again, doubled over one of the corners, and told the farmer that since he still seemed to have doubts, this time he could watch the hat work in church. The farmer was delighted with this. His doubts were stilled, and he fairly beamed, thinking of all the money he was going to make once that hat was his. They entered church. The priest was hearing confession, but when he saw Peter, But when he saw Peter with his hat, he said, "Wait here, my son," and he went to his sacristy. Again, sacristy has a footnote. It's a room in a church where sacred objects are stored. You see that the part of the word starts with sacred, okay? And returned with the bag of money Peter had left him. Peter thanked the priest, then knelt and asked for a blessing before he left. The farmer had seen everything and was fully convinced of the hat's magic powers. As soon as they left the church, he gave Peter the 10,000 pesos in gold and told him to take the horse also. Peter tied the bag of pesos to the saddle, gave the hat to the farmer, begging him to take good care of it, spurred his horse, and galloped out of town. As soon as he was alone, the farmer burst out laughing at the thought of the trick he had played on lazy Peter. A hat such as this was priceless. He couldn't wait to try it. He put it on with one corner turned up and entered the butcher shop. The butcher looked at the hat, which was very handsome indeed, but said nothing. The farmer turned around, then walked up and down until the butcher asked him what he wanted. The farmer said he was waiting for a bag of money. The butcher laughed out loud and asked if he was crazy. The farmer thought that there must be something wrong with the way he had folded the hat. He took it off and doubled another corner down, but this had no effect on the butcher. So he decided to try it out some other place. He went to the mayor of the town. The mayor, to be sure, looked at the hat but did nothing. The farmer grew desperate and decided to go to the druggist who had given Peter a bag of money. He entered and stood with the hat on. The druggist looked at him but did nothing. The farmer became very nervous. He began to suspect that there was something very wrong. He shouted at the druggist, "Stop looking at me and hand over the bag of money." The druggist said he owed him nothing. And what bag of money was he talking about anyway? As the farmer continued to shout about a bag of money and a magic hat, the druggist called the police. When they arrived, he told them that the farmer had gone out of his mind and kept demanding a bag of money. All right, so the farmer went out of his mind, meaning that it seems as if he's going a little bit crazy. The police questioned the farmer, and he told them about the magic hat he had bought from lazy Peter. When he heard the story, the druggist explained that Peter had left a bag of money, asking that it be returned when he appeared with a corner of his hat turned up. The owner of the stand and the priest told the same story. And I am telling you, the farmer was so angry that he tore the hat to shreds and walked home. That is the end of the story. Okay, so it seems as if lazy Peter played a trick on the farmer and it worked. So maybe we shouldn't believe everything we hear or see before we take action, and maybe we need to learn a little bit more before we actually do take some action. So if you need to read through the story again, you can go ahead and do so, or feel free to listen to the story again. Please let me know if you have any questions.